Hello people of YouTube, Hamster here, the TechRodent, today with a video review of the Motorola Moto G, one of Motorola's devices from 2013 that hopefully tries to make themselves a bit more relevant to the smartphone market. Alright, so without further ado, let's take a look at the device and what we have on the outside. So up the front, you have a 4.5-inch IPS LCD panel, which is at 1280 by 720 resolution. You have the 1.3 megapixel front-facing camera. You have the sensors, and you have an earpiece up the front. Down the right, you have the power button. You have the volume rocker. You have the 3.5mm headphone jack up the top, together with a secondary noise-cancelling microphone. Nothing on the left. Down the bottom, you have a micro USB port, together with a primary microphone. Down the back, you have a 5 megapixel camera, the speaker grill, a LED flash for the camera, and a Motorola logo. Let's pop the back off and take a look inside, shall we? Yeah, it's a tough one. You gotta sort of like ride your fingers along the edges, and it comes off relatively alright after that. There we go. So down the back we have a dual SIM slot. So you don't have space for expandable memory. So this is SIM 1 and there's that SIM 2. As you can tell, it's a micro SIM. Battery is non-removable and it is rated at 2070 milliamp hour. So let's talk a little bit about the specifications on what you'd find inside then. Inside you'd get a Snapdragon 400 processor clocked at 1.2 gigahertz. You have a Adreno 305 GPU, and you have a 1 gig of RAM together with 8 gig of internal memory, or a choice of 16 gig. In this case, I've got the 8 gig version in front of me. So, well, let's talk a little bit about the build quality then. Look, it's a really solid phone. I haven't held phones this solid ever since the days of the HTC Sensation or the HTC Desire HD, and by that I mean that it is a really solid device. You know, you don't find this kind of build quality these days, and especially not at this price point. So this is one of the really nice things which I like about the Moto G. Look, let's power up the device. I forgot to mention that the back chassis are completely removable as well, and you can change that to whatever you want. So it's kind of a bit bright when it's booting up, but bear with me. And it's got a really nice and cute animation logo, which I really like actually. It's got no sounds, it's got this really cool animation logo, and to be honest, I like this animation logo the best. Alright, so the phone's powered up. You can tell that didn't take very long. User interface and design. Well, as far as the user interface goes, this is actually running Android 4.4.2 KitKat. So, and everything is very AOSP-like, meaning that you slide right for the camera. You have this little button here, which you can access the camera. Every button, there are no capacitive keys, so everything is on-screen keys. Even though this is 4.4.2 KitKat, you don't have the Google Experience launcher. Rather, you have a launcher which is similar to that of the ones you'd find in Jelly Bean 4.3. Not exactly a bad thing, but I would have loved to see a Google Experience launcher. So let's take a look. As you can tell, operation is really nice and smooth. The phone keeps itself light, as not a lot of applications are preloaded into it. For example, the applications which are preloaded into it is one here, which is Motorola Assist. Nothing else in here. And that's pretty much it. Oh, well, about Motorola Migrate. Everything else is installed by me. Well, not everything else, like default stuff like GPSS, multi-touch tester. Pretty much my benchmarking applications are installed by me. Everything else is there by default, but as you can tell, it's a really lightweight device. No frills, no nothing, simple, clean, and I really like that. So let's take a look a little bit at the specifications of the device. Let me power up Antutu, and let's go into the specifications page. Let's see, device info. So as you can tell, it's the Motorola Moto G XT1033. OS is Android 4.4.2. We have the Snapdragon MSM 8226 Adreno 305 GPU. We have a resolution of 1280 by 720, 5 megapixel rear camera, storage, and the cores and the speed at which they run it. So yeah, everything checks out, and it's beautiful. So as per usual, I've already run all my benchmarks on the device, and as you can tell, I got a good score of 17,552. Sorry. And this is actually pretty much higher than a lot of other devices which are out there, given, this price point. So these are individual scores for those who may be interested in this. Let's go back to the home screen. Now, I'm not actually going to run any of the benchmarks for 3Mark Live because I've already run it, and they're really time consuming, but as you can tell, my scores are 5,442 for iStorm. iStorm Extreme, I've got a 2,764, and for iStorm Unlimited, I scored a 4,394, which is actually pretty good for a budget device. The one I am going to run live, however, is going to be Epic Citadel. And as usual, as I've mentioned in my past videos, I've always shown Epic Citadel because I felt that it always gives a accurate representation of, well, performance in games. I may have to change the video quality settings because I think that I'm running on ultra high right now, but as you can tell, it's still pretty smooth. But let me just do that. There we go. And I'll get back to you once this fully loads. Okay, it has fully loaded. That was quick. Okay, I'm running the benchmarks right now. I'm not used to it loading that quick, to be honest. This is the first device which I've benchmarked which has reloaded everything that quickly. I am genuinely shocked and thrilled. So as you can tell, the device is running at a pretty good FPS. There seems to be an FPS cap at about 60, but other than that, performance is beautiful. So what I'm trying to tell you with this is that for the majority of games, you're probably not going to run into any performance issues running the games. Though I have to note, however, that with this device, I am not running Dalvik, rather I'm running Art. For those familiar with Android 4.4.2 and the new features it brings, then the difference between Dalvik and Art is that Dalvik sort of runs things on the fly, whereas Art pre-compiles them in a cache and then later accesses them. So you spend less time, loading up your programs and so forth. So that may have had something to do with it. And if I'm not mistaken, the benchmark should be over soon. There we go. So you can tell I've got a wonderful score of 57.6 frames per second, and I find that a pretty good score. Now you may notice that the resolution is 1200 by 720, and I'm going to explain to you why right now. You see this? On-screen keys? That's taking up 80 pixels on the right. Therefore, it can't render at full resolution. There you go. Because a number of people I've seen online who have complained, why doesn't it run at full resolution and things like that. It's because of the on-screen keys. So as far as Wi-Fi connections go, I've had zero problems with them. I've had no problems with getting, a good GPS lock. I've had no problems getting good Wi-Fi signal. I've had no problems getting good mobile signal, though you may notice that my mobile signal here is only 2 bar. That's because I'm on the edge of my mobile signal and I'm indoors. If I went outdoors, it would hit back into a full bar. And let's take a look at the camera. Now the camera is one of those things about this phone which I find, while it may, be lacking at the same time, it does take some pretty good photos. So as you can tell, it's a really, really minimalist interface. If I tap on this, it takes a photo. If I drag this around, I'm not sure if you can notice it, but it actually adjusts the exposure accordingly to where I place the sort of the focus ring. Alright? Taking videos is a matter of tapping this button up the top here. And you can take photos at the same time. Now to access the additional menu, you slide from the left. So it brings up this menu, which has options like HDR, flash, this touch control to get your exposure and your focus, slow motion video, which to be honest isn't all that great, panorama, you have GPS tagging, 16:9 resolution or 4.3, I prefer 16:9, and obviously shutter sound. Now you can take a look at some of the sample photos which I've taken with this camera on this phone on my website in the link down below and at the end of this video. So yeah, overall, I find this to be a really good phone for its price. You're not going to find this kind of build quality, especially at the price at which I got it for, which was 666 ringgit, or an equivalent of 200 USD. It is a really, really solid phone. It is really good, and to be honest, the only thing which I found a bit lacking is the contents of the box itself. The accessories were pretty cheap, but then again, you're not there for the accessories, you're there for the phone. And the one thing else I would have liked is a 8 megapixel camera rather than a 5 megapixel camera. But overall, I'm really happy with this device, and I think it's a damn good buy for what it is. After all, it's already sold out on the first day in several countries. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, subscribe and leave comments down below. And please, if you want to check out more information about this phone with my complete, really thorough benchmarks, check out my website up the left, and as well as a unboxing video up here. Thanks guys, thanks for watching, and have a nice day.